So, how y'all doing? Sugamonger. Here's a multi-tool that I am actually really sad that kind of sucks. This thing is freaking cool just from the outside, right? I mean, well, this is getting into it. Look at it, right? It's got this little knob sticking off the side. It looks all robotic. It's got an excellent look, especially for a multi-tool. If you're familiar with multi-tools, you see this and you see this thing sticking off the side. And what the hell is that? You know, what does all this stuff do? It's obvious from the outside that this is different. And you get into it, and it definitely is different. It's a set of vice grips, which is awesome, right? And they actually work really well. This little pivot mechanism, how this actually works, is set up. It's kind of genius. You can see that little metal plate right there is actually what is making contact on the back of that little metal ball thing sticking off there, the actual little pivot there. So any torsional stress that you force down onto this actual lever here pivots through that little bar onto the bottom of this. So you're actually getting a proper connection. You're getting proper tension as far as anything that you need to squeeze, anything that you need to clamp on. The negative comes in disengaging it, because when it's disengaged, you can accidentally flip your tool off, which isn't necessarily that big of a negative because you can just put it back on, keep going. And it's fully adjustable. I mean, this is a legitimate set of folding vice grips. The major negative that really bothers me, the reason that I've actually not been carrying this as much, is the tools. Now, using the tools in here, you can see it's got a decent little setup. I don't like the blade shape, but that's really just on my personal preference. It's a hollow ground, full serrated blade. It works, but you extend it all the way out, and you can either use it like this, but then you've got this really big dangly thing hanging off the back of it, which is just, it's not very easy to use, and especially when you come into something like the screwdriver. Imagine trying to use this screwdriver with this thing hanging off the back of it. It doesn't work, right? And then you close it up. Right? Close the tool up. Get it set up like this. The screwdriver is going to work fine. That's just like any other Leatherman screwdriver. Pull the knife out. Set it up. And you see that? That's not set up correctly. I've got like half an inch of material before I can actually get to the blade, and then I've got this little knob sticking out here, which honestly could be all the way out there. Because if you're using your tool, you got something really big clamped up in here, you need your knife, pull your knife out and set it up. You got this thing sticking off in front of your knife that you're going to actually have to collapse down before you can use your blade properly. So it's just not set up correctly. The tools are in the wrong spot. It's too hard to use. This thing flaps around way too much. The way that this is actually set up is pretty neat. It's got this little indentation right there. You can see that, which actually creates a detent supposedly holding this thing closed. That worked until the first time I put torsional stress on the actual mechanism itself. Because I bent it a little bit, I realigned the teeth. You can see how it's not a full-on, it's not a perfect connection there. And since that is off that fractional amount, this thing no longer holds the detent in, which leads to it not closing properly. It does this all the time. That used to sit flush. So I mean, I'm bagging on this thing. I'm talking trash on this thing, and really, I don't want to get the opinion across that this thing isn't good, because it is. It actually is a functioning set of vice grips. It's just to get those vice grips to actually get that capability. You're making so many sacrifices on the other side of the multi-tool. So if it's the vice grips that you need the most, this thing is amazing. But if it's a full set of tools, if it's a full range, if it's if it's a tool that you're looking for that has the capability of doing everything equally bad, get a normal multi-tool. And yeah, equally bad was a very selected phrase. Y'all have a good one.